Welcome to Rector Whatever. You're here listening to your host, Don't Forget Sauce, here to give you the behind the scenes access to DeFi and Web3. Okay, well, thank you guys for tuning in to episode 8 of Rector Whatever. Today, I have a guest by the name of Aston. How are you today, Aston?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. The weather's kind of cold, but we're hanging in there. So, Aston, this is Rector Whatever. Definitely wanted to share some perspectives from the guests that I do have. However, before we get into it, I just want to know how you got into this space and why you're here.
So, funny story. A couple years back, I'd say, a friend of mine, he's an idiot, an absolute idiot, right? That knows nothing in life. And he came up to me, and I was doing some startups at the time, business startups and all. Yeah, I was pretty young, and I wanted to learn how to really make money, right? And he came up to me and he's like, "Oh, look, I turned $1,000 investment into $100,000 in a matter of a week." I'm like, "What the hell? Come over here and teach me how you did it, right?" And I forgot the token, what it was called, but yeah, no, that's how I got into this space, man.
So, were you always in the DeFi space, or did you start off with exchanges?
No, I actually dove straight in with DeFi. Yeah, no, it was yeah, I pretty much at the time didn't know, blue chip trading. I didn't touch any of that. I just pretty much get Ethereum and just dive straight into DeFi. I never even touched BNB.
Well, if you got in early, right, and you came in the bull run, you could have got very lucky. But in that sense, like, did you make profit, and then essentially, did you have a profit taking strategy when you started out?
Well, it was interesting, right? Because when I came in, it was more of learning the ropes of everything to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'd say months to start off with. It was months of just learning. I guess buying and selling. The basic things, if that makes sense. And from there, I started developing my own strategies. And yeah, it took a couple months for me to even start seeing profits in general. But yeah, it was like 6, 7 months, I'd say, until I started seeing profits. It was a lot of losses though, at the start. I could tell you that.
So, I have a question for you then, because you clearly see how you've been in this space for a bit now. You said like a couple years, right?
Yeah, I'd say like 2 years.
Yeah. So, what do you feel of the people that constantly just have these FOMO statements and act like everybody makes it?
It's
Waggy.
all bullshit. It's all bullshit, right? I saw a tweet a while ago saying there's only one person that sells the top, and that is completely true. People have to understand that these tokens, sure, I mean, I wouldn't want to call it a Ponzi scheme or anything like that, right? But what people fail to understand is that your money's coming from someone else's pocket, right? That's just how it works in this DeFi area. Yeah, the millions you cash out is someone else's thousands of dollars, right? You got 50 other people pitching in, and you were just smart enough or lucky enough or fortunate enough to be in early enough. So
I get it. And for essentially, say for example, somebody that's first starting out, right, in this space, would you recommend them DeFi, or would you essentially let them know to get started with exchanges? Because there's these false educators or people that are like 1,000 times gem, get into this. And that was a question that I got asked to as well. Like, what do you think when it comes to educators that are more so shilling these DeFi plays and not necessarily shilling people, like the protocols that are kind of mostly tested time, right? Like the Bitcoin and like the ETH and certain things, because it's fun to have a different risk appetite, right? But what do you feel about these people that kind of engagement farm and kind of prey off of people who have good nature in a sense and think that everybody wants everybody to win?
Right. So for your first question, what would I, you know, would I recommend this to people straight up to come into DeFi or take it slow and go into exchanges and all that, right? It depends on the person that I'm talking to, really. If you have the capital, if you have the time, if you're persistent enough, and you understand that, it's a time and a patience game, right? That's all it is, man. It's rinsing and repeating the same thing over and over again until you develop your own way of going about things, right? Because you know there's so many tokens. What was it, like 4 tokens every 20 minutes, something like that, right? And let's say 100 tokens launch in a day. Well, out of 100 tokens, you invest in, let's say, 5 a day, right? And if you constantly keep doing that, well, you'll eventually hit one that's gonna pretty much 1,000x, 10,000x, whatever it is, right? And it has happened to a lot of people. I'm assuming it happened to you as well, right?
Yeah, and then another question that I was asked, and then I get asked often, like, what's the biggest mistake I feel like I've made in this space? And I feel like my biggest mistake was essentially trusting people or projects or tokens too quickly and being a maxi when I shouldn't have.
Hmm.
So I wonder, what do you think? Like, do you feel like when we become maxis for these tokens, it ruins us, and we should mostly always be diversifying?
Well, it's always nice to be part of a community, right? It's one of the driving forces of DeFi and tokens, and communities really the only thing that pushes a token above and beyond, you know. But the issue is that you'll pretty much almost get left holding the bag if you're too heavily invested in the community itself. So, and in regards to trusting people, like I don't think I really have to speak much about that. We've seen all this, the scummy shit that's been happening to everyone, right? In regards to the rug pulls by people, the you know using people as exit liquidity, false promises, lots of grimy shit that's been happening within the space. So trusting people, yeah, I wouldn't trust anyone, literally no one, right? Like not even with my personal information. And yeah, man,
No, I
it's
get it, 100%. Like, it makes sense, and I feel like it's the mistakes we make are the best lessons, right, in life, because you learn through that and learn what to not do next time. But for you, I know you talked about holding the bag. So do you have any stories where you essentially felt like you didn't hold the bag?
I didn't hold the bag. Hmm. Well, no, it's okay. So usually, well, this is an issue that I have, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I get involved with communities, it's usually on a personal level, if that makes sense, with the developers, with the team. And if I were to get involved personally, I'd fall in love with the project itself. So it'd turn into a long-term investment for me. So I guess you could say get left holding the bag, But oh, are you talking about like in general trading? Well, I just bought X and I'm still holding the fucking bag, but
Not necessarily that, no, because
uh,
like sometimes like there's a lot of times where we feel like, oh, like, why did we hold that bag, right? And it's because we later on see like these developers didn't plan on building anything, and they necessarily were preying on, like, for me, one issue that I have in this space is I feel like these developers, these tokens or NFT projects, they rely too much on the community. Like, yes, things can be community built, but then there comes a point where you essentially made this protocol or you made this project. Like, why are you going ghost on people? Why are you saying volume doesn't matter? Essentially, like, I feel like you can have a community run token while still being active as a developer. Do you
That
feel
that
that as well?
that is true. That is true. And a great example. This is I'm about to shill a token. Okay, get ready. Grab your
Okay.
seats. Right. I'm in love with man. The token that I'm heavily invested in. That I that I see what you're talking about within them. I guess is Para. Right. Yeah. It's like a I guess low cap if that makes sense. But it doesn't matter. I'm not here gonna shill the token, right?
I know, but since you brought it up, I'm gonna have to ask you some follow up questions. Might be spicy, buddy.
No, go
You
for it,
brought it
man.
up. You brought
Go
it
for
up.
it. Go for it.
So I have a question for you. Okay,
Yeah.
how many times has Para relaunched?
5 times I believe. No, well, yeah, 5 times. Yeah.
See, that's one thing that I have a problem with in this space too, as well, right?
Yeah.
Is why do devs rush things and not plan things out before launching them? Obviously, like, sometimes you can make a mistake and you have a V2, but I feel like you should really take time to make sure you don't make any mistakes, right? Because I feel like don't you feel like along the way you kind of lose trust from
Mm.
investors, right? Because like, okay, again, you know?
Yeah, but there are reasons, right? So if you were
Go ahead.
involved within the community, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually understand why the relaunches happen, right? People are gonna be like, oh, V4, V5, whatever the fuck it is, V2. There's a there's a reason for every single relaunch, right? So I can give you a little bit of a touch up on that. I'm not too updated on everything, right? Since I stepped down from the team,
Yeah.
but I remember the first relaunch was in regards to adding new functionality to the contract, right? It was from community feedback. And I believe it was separating the taxes, right? Instead of having, adjusting the buy tax and that would automatically adjust the sell tax, it would actually have two separate taxes in regards to like the transfer tax was separate, the buy tax was separate, the sell tax was separate, and you can adjust that accordingly, right? And that would be something that they can adjust on the fly, which would give, I guess, quote unquote utility, right, to the contract itself. When that launched, though, there was issues with Uniswap where you can't really swap. Long story short, that's why they had to relaunch to the V3, right? And then from the V3, uh, they had to add staking, right? Because the community started asking for staking, so they added staking. There was issues with the V4 launch, so they did the V5, and yeah, that's pretty much where we're at now. So it wasn't like a problem within the contract to begin with. It was just more of adding functionality to it. So yeah,
No, I wish all projects in this space are successful, right? I just wish essentially, I don't know, just everyday life, like for me, I just find this kind of environment unique because when I know I want to do something, I kind of more so plan it out. And and that's everybody in this space. I just feel like everybody just goes with a whim and like if I make a mistake, I'll fix it then. If I make another mistake, I'll fix it then. And I feel like that's a problem like every project faces, or token. And I just hope like more people just take the time because I feel like a lot of people have great ideas, a great concept because when I first seen Pair, I liked it. I liked the idea that they had too, right? But like just me as an investor, that's one things that's kind of things that scare me, you know, when
yeah,
people want to keep on like making the same mistakes and necessarily not taking the time because they like don't ruin a good thing when all you had to do was wait,
yeah. No, I
and not rush
completely
it.
yeah. No, I completely
Yeah.
agree with you on that point. It's being involved with a ton of projects, right, and seeing behind the curtains, I guess, right.
Yeah.
What people don't understand is that the amount of pressure that these people face, the
Mhm.
team in general, is insane. Insane, right? It's like a balance between waiting and getting something done correctly and getting something out there in due time, if that makes sense, right? Because you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta understand, you gotta capitalize on that hype, if that makes sense, right? And sure, Para did people are gonna say what they say, right? But it did pump every time it relaunched,
Do you know one thing that I liked about Shib?
What?
is the fact that they didn't make any promises. And I
Mm.
feel like a lot of tokens and projects like ruin themselves because they make promises too early. Because if you don't really set any expectations, you just go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because now you set an expectation, now you have a deadline, and now you broke promises.
No.
So, do you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are like, what do you think too, as well, with people saying, like, oh, I don't want to invest because this developer didn't dox? What do you think about doxing
Yeah, I
in the
mean,
space?
yeah, so at some point doxing was something that was interesting, right? Because it was something refreshing and new. And it kind of brought credibility and trust into the space. At the start, it was well, it was kind of a reason to invest because this person is putting their information, their livelihoods on the line, right? But I think it just, got too diluted, I guess, that a lot of people took advantage of that thing and realized that there are no consequences to, rugging, I guess, and running away, even if they're dogs. And we've seen it happen time and time again. So, yeah, I don't think doxing is the, you know,
Me
the end all be
personally,
all, right?
no. I personally, for me, I don't care if my developers are doxed or not doxed, because we see how it was a marketing ploy by many projects, and they've either rugged or they've kind of like siphoned money from communities and essentially kind of showed their faces now that they really didn't care about anything. It just like staking in utility. I feel like that's a scam too, because you think people want to build and they kind of capitalize off the bull run and the hype. Anything could have popped off if it was launched in the bull run. You saw these
Yeah.
projects and tokens, like stupid concepts, just running because people just wanted to get into something new. And that's just how the space was in general. But say, for example, now, because you've been here for 2 years now, right? And we don't want to
Yeah.
make the same mistakes. We don't want to surround ourselves with friends that use us as exit liquidity.
Hmm.
So what are you going to be implementing so going forward you don't get wrecked,
Well,
essentially?
so I mean, you've noticed, right? In Twitter Spaces and in general, personal phone calls and the people I interact with are people that have proven themselves to me over this time period, right? People that showed me their true colors, because I remember you saying, money changes people, money just shows who you truly are, right? And I've surrounded myself with a solid bunch of people that I know who to trust, right? Because when the bull run comes in, man, it's if you have people like that around you, it's you're not gonna make it out. Like simple as that.
Yep.
You gotta have good people you trust that you can work together to navigate, what's going on, right? And lots of lessons learned, man. Lots and lots of lessons learned. Lots, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of wanted to have like more honest conversations, because I feel like people want to just go with what brings hype, brings engagement, and these false stories. And like, one thing I really hated in this space is like, listen, like, a lot of people weren't successful in Web 2 in their real life, but then they want to act like they were so successful in their real life, and then they've come here and they just became more successful. And it's okay to be honest. It's okay to say you never had anything before. And I just feel like that adds substance to your story and who you are as a person. And I agree with you. Like, that kind, for me, when I see people who don't, their actions don't align with their words, I kind of more so slowly like remove myself from them. Just projects, tokens, anybody in general, right? Because you want to surround yourself with positive energy, and you want to surround yourself with people that you can like trust. I know it's in a business, we're investing and stuff like that, but you can still surround yourself with people who have morals. And I'm just big on energy. And if I see people that scam and I know they're a scammer, I don't want to associate with them. Even even say someone be like, oh, like this person will make you rich, like I really don't care, because I genuinely feel like that money isn't worth it. Like if money isn't made with good intentions, like it'll do nothing for you in life, and it just curses it.
It's blood
Um,
money, right?
yeah, and it's crazy how people navigate. They just really don't care in this space, and they just see certain money. Because I've seen crazy amount of money in the bull run, but I still wouldn't let that change me as a person, because I just guess it was how was raised. But yeah, the space is funny to navigate. Um, and I'm happy there's more so people that do want to share their truths now, right? Even though there's not many, people still want to say 1,000 times gem, when that's not true. These projects really aren't all gonna make it.
That is very
Um,
true. That is very true. So
yeah.
many projects are not gonna make it out of here, and that's the sad part, you know?
And it's crazy, right? Because so many things that had so much potential, and I'm just laughing looking at my portfolio at certain things too as well.
Now, you still holding? You got caught holding the bag?
Oh, let me tell you something. No, I'm the type of person, like, obviously sometimes I was caught holding the bag, but what I did was I learned from that mistake, and I didn't let it happen with my other investments. And the biggest mistake I did was not make a profit taking strategy. I genuinely thought that everybody wanted to build. I just thought everyone was here to be builders, everyone wanted to further decentralization, but in reality it was like cha-ching, a broke boy's paradise. Who am I gonna scam next?
Yeah,
you
that's
know
yeah, no, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I come from a different part of the world, right? I come from a part of the world where people's words are their fucking bonds, you
Mm-hmm.
know? You don't scam people. You don't run around taking advantage of people that trust you. That's where I come from. So when I came into this fucking cesspool of grimy, scummy shit, where people take advantage of you emotionally, build relationships with you. Like, man, I know people that built relationship. Like, for example, Faltron. He had a guy, be friends with him for a whole fucking year just to create a project and target the whole group that we were in, just to rug us. People will go that far to take your money
Are
in
we
this
talking about
space.
Shill Society?
There's so many. No, no, that's no, that's another one. That's metaverse. Yeah, no.
You don't want to bring that one up, or there's other
No,
ones,
let's.
huh?
Yeah, there's other ones, man. Yeah, there's
Oh,
there's other
too many to
ones.
count.
Yeah, so many, dude. So it's not new. It's not new.
But the bull run, the ones that rugging in this bear market, they're making like $3. The
Yeah,
the
look at
the
metaverse,
the
right?
bull run. What's the what the bull run? How much was, like, say for example you've been in like some where the wool's been pulled over your eyes. What was the biggest amount that the person was able to run away with that you know?
Man, I personally, I like. Here, let me remember. Well, the biggest rug I've been a part of, I guess, was Zuki, right?
Yeah.
Zuki was was insane, right? There was I don't know how many millions got taken off of there, but I don't know him
Did they ever get
personally, right?
found as well? The Zuki one?
Yeah, I think they found yeah, I think people traced him down, and then he started, pointing fingers at other developers. They actually got his picture. They contacted people from his high school, and he quote unquote tried to make things right from what I remember. Yeah. Australian guy, if I recall correctly. Yeah.
A lot of these rugs are coming out of Australia. I don't know what it is. Like,
Mm. Mm.
but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're definitely learning lessons, right? But
I mean, they don't gotta learn lessons, man. It's eventually consequences are gonna come. People think that they're gonna get away with whatever they want. No, that's not how it works, man. If you got people like me, right, or other people that got affected that are still gonna pursue you once things kick in and once regulation kicks in. I know people that have people at there's at the FBI, well, I think the FBI, or others. I forgot what it was, but there are people knocking on people's doors, man. You know, asking questions. You know, you can't just have a couple million appear out of nowhere and people report you, and you think you're just gonna walk away. You know, they're starting to catch these people, and they're gonna start from the bottom up. I can tell you that. So
Yeah, the thing is, people think they can get away with anything, right, in this space. And I know it's not, regulation will happen like anytime soon, but it's slowly getting there, right? Because we see different things that are happening with the SEC as well. But
yeah,
yeah, Aston, thanks for tuning in and having this little
I
podcast with me,
appreciate you.
and yeah, like I hope everything works out for you. I hope your path is clear, and you definitely stay away from the scammers that you definitely know are here, because there's no room for them, right? I,
Yeah, I
people
mean,
always constantly pretend like they're gonna change, but once people show you who they truly are, believe them the first time.
ooh, I like that. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And time will only tell where my future is. You know.